Coming up on Real Time this week with your host Catherine Mokler, an army veteran and bereaved father has been found guilty of praying for his dead son. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer spared a doctor who was arrested for assisting in the death of a man in 2009. Scottish First Minister John Swinney expresses concern about assisted suicide being extended to children, and SPUC's public rosary and candlelight procession is hailed a success. An army veteran and bereaved father has been found guilty by Bournemouth Magistrates Court of breaching a buffer zone when he prayed silently outside an abortion facility. Adam Smith Connor prayed silently for his dead son in November 2022. Now, District Judge Orla Austin said his actions were deliberate after he bowed his head in silent prayer and clasped his hands, which the court said amounted to disapproval of abortion. Mr. Smith Connor explained how he was praying for his dead son, called Jacob, who was killed by abortion over 20 years ago. Following the verdict, Mr. Smith Connor was given a 2-year conditional discharge and ordered to pay £9,000 in legal costs. Responding to the verdict, Sir Edward Lee MP slammed the outcome as disgraceful, stating that the government must act urgently to clarify that freedom of thought is protected as a basic human right. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer spared a doctor who was arrested for assisting in the death of a man in 2009. Keir Starmer was Director of Public Prosecutions when Dr. Michael Irwin was arrested after he paid nearly £2,000 in legal costs for a man to travel to a suicide clinic in Switzerland to have his life ended. Dr. Irwin, who had been fired from the medical register in 2005, wrote to Starmer following his arrest and admitted to helping the man die. Dr. Irwin also accompanied 4 other people to the Swiss suicide clinic. Despite these actions, Starmer refused to prosecute Irwin because he believed his actions were motivated in part by sympathy. An SPUC spokesperson stated that Prime Minister Starmer has already shown a worrying lack of concern for the dangers posed by assisted suicide laws, and that as the UK is facing the current threat of assisted suicide legislation, it is vital for all opposed to this to contact their MP and urge them to vote against such legislation. The First Minister of Scotland says he is wrestling with the issue of assisted suicide, which according to a proposed bill could apply to young teens. First Minister John Swinney stated that an age threshold of 16 is a significant issue. Dr. Claude Regnard, the retired medical director of St Oswald's Hospice, warned GB News that assisted suicide laws could permit teens with anorexia to take their own lives. The doctor, with 40 years of medical experience, described how a 16-year-old in Scotland with anorexia would easily be eligible for assisted suicide if they said they won't eat, as that would count as a terminal illness. And finally, hundreds of pro-lifers turned out in Glasgow for SPUC's public rosary and candlelight procession. Since the passing of the 1967 Abortion Act, over 10 million unborn babies have had their lives brutally ended by abortion, and countless mothers, fathers and families have been left hurt. SPUC's candlelight procession is a peaceful vigil which commemorates the lives lost and hurt by the violence of abortion and ensures that these precious lives are not forgotten. The evening began with a public recitation of the Rosary in George Square at 6:30, followed by a candlelight procession to St Andrew's Cathedral, where we concluded with Holy Mass. From SPUC's newsroom, I'm Catherine Mokler and this is Real Time. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy our content, please like, share and subscribe.